What's up, everybody? Welcome to BioWatch 3 Raw TV. Let's fix this fucking camera. I gotta make this shit square. There we go. Good. I want to talk to you guys tonight about life lessons that you learn at the gym that not necessarily what you think. So let me kind of jump into that. So the title of this, I think we'll call it something like Gold's Gym Taught Me or something like that, because that's where I learned it. And you know, I'm very thankful to Gold's Gym for the time I spent there, the things that I learned while I was there. You know, I worked at a couple different Gold's. One was Gold's in Somerset. I was doing training out there when I was 18 years old. And then eventually it was Gold's downtown D.C. It was the Midtown Gold's in D.C. And I went from there to the Gold's Gym on Neville Street in Maryland, Rockville, Maryland, which was the biggest Gold's Gym on the East Coast as far as numbers-wise, as far as money that was coming in and stuff. So I actually ran that gym for a little while. I ran the whole gym with Paul White, who was the district manager. I did the GM, I did the FM, I was a trainer, I did all that for a little while, but I was actually brought there originally as a fitness manager to run the training department. Now, the way this whole thing came about, right, when I left Rhode Island, I didn't want to go back into security or police work, which I had actually looked at PG County down here. I lived, you know, in PG, on the line of PG County, and I found out like how bad it really was there. I said, you know what, I really want to get back into training. I want to start my own business at some point. So I went back to training. So I came down to Gold's Gym. I wound up training at Gold's Gym. Now, the Gold's Gym that I was training at in Somerset was owned by like an individual, and then it turned into Sports Plus. So it wasn't like a corporate situation. Now, the Gold's when I came down here were both corporate. That's a whole different structure. Now, corporate is going to teach you things that they implement into their business, but they're proven over and over again, and they can replicate them over and over again. So they know that they're teaching you something that can help you help them. But realistically, they're helping you help you at the same time. By the time I left Gold's, I had good skills towards managing people, managing departments, as well as implementing different types of scheduling, time management. I mean, you name it, dealing with people, customer service, everything that was involved in there, implementing systems. I mean, pretty much everything you needed, you were going to be taught at Gold's Gym to be able to do your job and everybody else's job if needed. You know, because that's the way it is. Sometimes you wind up pulling more than your weight. And one of the things that I learned at Gold's was, you know, you would come in, let's say you had a goal of like $3,500 for the day you had to make. That was your number for the day. Your trainers had to bring that in. And I would get there in the morning, let's say 8 a.m., and walk in. Trainers have been training there since 5 o'clock in the morning, so already had numbers on the board. Sometimes I would hit that number, you know, by 2 o'clock in the afternoon, so there's not a whole lot left for me to do that day. Now, when you hit your goal, you figure, oh, I'm done for the day. Inevitably, what happens is someone comes into the office, my office, I had my own office at the time, and says, hey, man, you know, you hit your goal, but what are you going to do for the rest of the day? I'm like, I don't know, why? Like, it really didn't even dawn on me what this person was asking me. I said, well, you know, you hit 100%. I said, yeah, it's badass, right? And he said, well, 100% is average. 100% is what you do when you're average. Like, that's what we expect of you. Like, do you just want to be average? And in my head, I was like, oh, here we go. Like, they're doing the brainwashing, you know, but they're really trying to motivate you. And I'm like, no, I don't want to be average. All right, so what are you going to hit? 110%, 120%, 130%? Could you hit 200% today? And I was like, geez, dude. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, I don't know. You know, so I would try my best, and sometimes I would hit 110, 115. Sometimes I would wind up with 100. You know, but the bottom line was they wanted you to try. They wanted you to keep pushing through the rest of the shift to the end of the day. Even though you hit your numbers already, you don't have to. But it shows them what you're really made out of, right? And it shows you what you're made out of. Because essentially, he was right. 100% is only average. If you give your workouts 100%, you're average. If you give your diet 100%, you're average. You need to give 110% to not be average to be better than the pack. So I got it. I understood it after time. I said, okay, so you have to keep pushing. Like, you know, it's almost like, you know, you're ahead by 50 points in the game. It doesn't matter. There's 4 minutes left to play, 2 minutes left to play, 1 minute, 30 seconds. You're still out there playing just as hard as you would if you started the game just off with no points. And so the day would come. I mean, the day would go, you know, maybe I hit 110. That's awesome. I come in the next morning. I roll in there at 8 o'clock. I pick up my folder at the front desk. I go to my office. And it's okay, there's no money on the board yet, but we hit 110 yesterday, so we're ahead of the curve. Because you have your daily goal, your weekly goal, and your monthly goal. So we're ahead of the curve already. So don't panic. Let's just figure out what we got to do. So that first morning meeting comes in. Jerry, what are you doing today? Well, these are our leads that we're following. We're going to do our best to hit our number today. You're going to do your best to hit that number? What number? 3,500. Well, that's just average. You've proven that you can hit more than, you're better than average. So let's go for 100. Well, you did 110 yesterday. Let's go for 115 today. So I was like, you got to be shitting me. So everybody left the meeting. I grabbed this individual, I pulled him aside and said, what are you doing, dude? I'm like, well, I just hit 110% yesterday. And everybody in this region hasn't even hit above 70% in the last 6 months. I'm killing it. And he's like, right, but that was yesterday. He's like, right now, you guys are all even. You've done 0 so far today. And I'm like, but yesterday's done. What are you going to do today? And man, it was so frustrating for me to hear that. But at the same time, I realized he's right. Right? You don't stop with one day. You don't. If you're playing football, you don't stop at the first quarter because you're up and say fuck it for the rest of the game. You have to play all the way till it's done. And if you chose that job and those are your goals, you got to play it out. You got to do what you can do to hit those goals. You basically got in there and you confirmed to them and you set those goals and you said, this is what I'm going to do. You gave them your word. What are you going to do now? Are you worth your word? This is the thoughts that went through my head. And I didn't realize at the time that it wasn't conditioning, it was learning. You are getting conditioned as you learn to do more and more and be better yourself every day. And then I stopped and thought, like, well, how did I get myself in that position to begin with? Well, I showed up one morning as a trainer. And they didn't know me from a hole in the wall at Golds. They had no idea. And what they did was, to get hired at Golds as a trainer, they would look through all your credentials, but they wanted to know if you could really pull off being a trainer. So I was living in Rhode Island. I drove down there for the interview to Maryland, to D.C. I drove back home the same day. 12 hours in each direction. So 12 hours, 2-hour meeting, 12 hours back to Rhode Island. And they said, we'd like to have you come down and train our fitness manager, the one who runs the training department. I was like, shit, I got to drive. I don't even have the job yet. I got to drive back down. I drove back down. I trained her. Now, my thing was, when I trained her, I didn't train her with basic stuff. I trained her with things that I thought, they give you a thing, well, she has a knee problem. Like, they give you this imaginary client and have you train them like, you would train somebody if you worked for Golds. And what I didn't know at the time was all the other trainers were actually, because I'd never met any of them, they were all working out in the gym at the same time, watching what I was doing. So they had a say as to whether or not I got hired. They watched me train Melody. I did some very unorthodox things they had never seen before, and they were kind of laughing at first, but then they were like, oh shit, like, who is this guy? So like, I was giving more than 100% when I walked in there for my first interview. I was giving more than 100% when I walked in there, because it's just who I was at the time, right? But then once you get in there, right, now as a trainer, I was trying to give my all to the clients, because it's all I knew. All I knew was going hard, going hard, going hard. But when you get into the position where you're running departments, I looked at it more as a less intense situation. And that's not actually what it is, because now you have to be intense to keep up their intensity. And you have to learn, because there's somebody above you that keeps you intense, that keeps up their intensity. So it works as a unit. But at the same time, you're learning these valuable skills that you're going to take with you. So when I left DC and went to Maryland, I took those skills with me. Right? And then when I left Gold's Gym finally, eventually I left Gold's Gym and I started my own business. I took all of the knowledge. It was like going to college to be a supervisor, a manager, a trainer, a gym general manager, and even a business owner. It was like I went to college for that stuff. Like Gold's Gym basically put me through college for that stuff is what they did. Hands-on experience for years. I knew how to implement systems. I knew how to do bookkeeping. I knew how to do sales. I knew how to do everything that I needed to do right off the bat, starting my own business. And then I implemented it like that. And what happened was eventually I realized that it wasn't just business that I took that approach with. So let me explain. So you guys have seen this in some of the videos that I made in the past, and I've talked about it a lot. Every single time something good happens to me, or I do something good, or I accomplish a goal, within, I'd say, 20 minutes to a half hour, I literally take that and I shove it aside like it didn't even happen. I may look back at it in the future and say that was pretty cool, but I literally try to forget that it just happened. And say, okay, now what do I do here? Right? Where do I go from here? Whereas a lot of people take a week, 2 weeks, a month, they just do dumb shit and just pat themselves on the back so much, and then they find themselves behind when they're trying to move forward with something else because they've been too busy patting themselves on the back, acting like it's the best thing in the world. No, you do something great, dude, it's done. What are you going to do today? Today is a whole new day. And every day I learned at Gold's Gym, I was starting out just like every other fitness manager, every other trainer at zero. Every day is a new day. Every day is a chance to be successful. Every day is a chance to be a failure. It depends on how you attack that day, how you plan for it, and how you execute it. And I started doing that with everything. So I would do a bodybuilding competition, and Saturday I would be done with the show. And by the time that show was done that night, and I'd be like, I like to go eat tacos. That's my big thing after a show. I would be eating tacos already thinking about Monday morning. Now, Sunday would be the day that I devised the plan, but Monday morning I need to be back on track moving forward, where a lot of people took weeks off. They didn't train hard. I was going right back to the gym. I would take Sunday to actually rest and sleep. Dieting for show, you get depleted. I'd put some more electrolytes back in my body. I'd rehydrate. I'd put some foods in my body I didn't have for a while, like bring up the carbs a little bit, get my body, try to level it out a little bit on Sunday. By the time Monday comes, I feel a lot better, and I'm able to execute the plan that I made on Sunday already. But so, you compete on Saturday, by Monday I'm already off and running towards what I'm going to do next. And it never failed. It is constantly like that all the time. Things happen to me and I shouldn't say they happen to me, but there are things that go on in my life that are absolutely fucking amazing. I mean, the coolest fucking shit. You know what I mean? The coolest fucking shit. And I go, hey, that was a great experience. This is awesome. Boom, cut dry, moving on to the next thing. And it's become like a gift that Gold's Gym gave me, to be totally honest with you, to be able to see things for what they really are. And it's great to have accomplishments. It's great to acknowledge them, and it's great to enjoy them. But at the same time, it's also great to keep them in perspective, that you still have a life to lead. And this one thing that you've done well, or you've done right for whatever reason, that you've accomplished this goal, doesn't last. There are other goals to accomplish. And it literally is the next day, just like when I was at Gold's Gym. You're starting from zero. If you had a great week of training and you got a show coming up, you did all your cardio, hit your diet, and Monday morning comes, guess what? It's a new day. What are you going to do today? You're going to go train 110%. Make sure you nail your macros. Make sure you're eating all the right foods. You're not cheating on your diet. Doing all your cardio. But you just did a week's worth of 110, 115, 120% worth of effort. Doesn't matter. Today's Monday. Go do it again. And I realized that it can be super overwhelming looking at that. But I found a way that worked for me. Hopefully passing this along to you guys may help some of you guys out there. And that way is really looking at it as... for dieting, I think this works really well because I use it with a lot of clients, is can you give me one day of eating on that plan? And I mean, just eat the foods that I told you to eat. Just make sure you hit the numbers. Give your workout 110%. Do all your cardio. Take all your supplements. Do everything you got to do at work. Have a full, perfect day. One perfect day is all I'm asking you for, is one perfect day. Can you do that? And now they go, well, I got 20 weeks of this, but one day, just one day. All I need is one. Show me one day. Can you do that? And I don't tell them why. And they give me the one day. And they come back and say, I did it. And they're very proud of themselves because they gave it everything they had for one day. They're like, I did it, dude. I did it. I didn't think I'd be able to do it, but I did it, man. This is so awesome. I said, that's awesome, man. Now, here's the deal. What I need from you is I need you to do that again. And then they go, but you said one day. That's right, and you did it for one day. Today is a new day. You only have today. Yesterday is gone. Tomorrow's not even here. We're not even going to worry about tomorrow. Yesterday, you did it. Unbelievable. Let's do it again today. Give me that 110% again today. And they go in and they realize, well, I did it yesterday, and they've already done it, so they know what it feels like. They know how hard to push. They know if they're not pushing themselves that hard, they're not giving it their all. So now they have a measuring stick to measure it to compare it to, and where to move into that next day to get the most out of what they're trying to do. And then it runs into 2 days. And then it runs into 3 days. And if you can do it 3 days, guess what? You can do it a fourth day. If you can do it a fourth day, you can do it a fifth. And if you can do it 5 days, you can do it 7 days, and that's a whole week. If you can do it for a fucking week and give it 110%, not fuck up, 100%, 110% for 7 days, you can do it for a week and a day, a week and 2 days. Eventually that leads to 2 weeks. I have done that so many times in my life where I just took it one day, and sometimes you got to break it down for that first day to get 110%. Sometimes you have to break it down into doing 1 hour at a time. Not even, I would break it down to one meal. I'd be like, look, just take it one meal at a time. Okay? Eat what you're supposed to eat at that meal. Don't even think about the rest of the day or the rest of the week, just that one meal. So if it's 2 o'clock and you're going to eat at 3, think about what you're eating at 3. Make sure it's all prepared. Everything's weighed out. Eat that. Drink your water. Take your vitamins, whatever you got to do. Boom. Forget that meal. You got another one coming in at, I don't know, 6 o'clock or whatever it is. Start thinking about the 6 o'clock one. Take it one meal at a time. You know, and then people can wrap their heads around that because you're breaking it down to even smaller goals. And then I'll go, look, take it at 1 hour at a time. Maybe you eat that meal at 3 o'clock, and by 4:30 you're hungry already, but you have to eat at 6. So rather than thinking about the meal at 6 is so far away from 4:30, you start going, all right, well, it's 4:30, I'm hungry. I have an hour and a half. Okay, let me just take it, let me just get through to 5 o'clock. I'm going to have a little bit of water. The hunger I'm feeling obviously is not real hunger. It's not like the kids in fucking Somalia and Ethiopia. That's not real hunger. My body thinks I'm starving it because it doesn't realize what I'm trying to do. But really, it's a hunger signal. That's a false sense of hunger. I just ate. I nourished my body at 3 p.m. and I'm hungry already. So it's a false sense of hunger. I just need to fight through that and I'll be okay and I'll have my next meal at 6. So 5 o'clock comes, you get through that half hour. You go, man, I only have another hour and I get to eat. That 5 o'clock, let's try to keep busy. Just make sure you make it to 6 o'clock and have that meal. About 5:45, start making the meal. Start putting it all together, putting everything together, measuring everything out, weighing everything, portioning it. Put it on the table. Make sure you bring your water over, count your vitamins out. Boom, it's 6 o'clock, eat your meal. 6 o'clock, you're done eating your meal. You don't have another one until, let's say 8 o'clock or whatever the case may be. You start it over again, hour to hour. By the time you're done, you go to bed. Going hour by hour, meal by meal, you have made it through the day, given it 110% and accomplished your fucking goal. It is that tedious sometimes to accomplish your goals. Now, you could take that dieting, training, whatever, and you could apply that to business. You could apply that to school. You could apply that to anything, even relationships. You can apply that to anything. You and your spouse have gone in separate ways for a week due to business, and you really miss your spouse. You're like, oh, man, this really sucks, man. I only got 3 more days. Let me just take today. All right, I got to go do this for business, that for business, that, and then you get through the day, and you're like, wow, I only have 2 days left. All right, 2 days till I see my spouse again is a lot better than 3 days. Cool. All right, I just got to keep busy. Maybe you talk to them on the phone, you do a FaceTime with them, whatever. You have a little bit of time. That holds you over. The next morning you get up, you got to work, you got to do stuff, expos, whatever the case may be. You're off and running. You get through that one day. Whew, I only got 1 more day and I'm headed back home. So excited to see my spouse, my dog, all of it. You can literally take this mindset 1 hour at a time, 1 day at a time, and every day is an opportunity to succeed or fail. It's up to you. But make no mistake about it, it's on you. It's not on your coach, your trainer, your boss, your parole officer. It doesn't matter who it is. It's on you to make the most out of every day you got, because everybody wakes up in the morning and they're starting from scratch with 0. And I don't mean that bank account. You can try to demean what I'm saying all you want, but the bottom line is you have a chance to chase your dreams every morning the way you want to, 110%, and so do they. You just have to decide to. In the end, you get what you deserve. You get what you worked for. You put in 50%, you get half the reward. Right? You decide not to do something, you don't get the reward. You decide to give it 110%, maybe you don't get it. Maybe you get beat out by someone who did 120%. Well, you better amp it up and go to 120%, so the next time you accomplish that goal, you beat them with whatever it is. The bottom line is all you, and it's all in here. It's all the mindset. And I think that a lot of the times we fail, not due to what we're trying to do, whether it's a job or business or training or whatever the case may be, but it's a mindset and the external forces outside of us. External stresses that are coming on, whether it's job, family, like money, whatever the case may be, that really takes our attention away and doesn't allow us to give 110%, or scams us into thinking that we can't give 110% because we're so overwhelmed. When you break it down to 1 hour at a time, it's not that overwhelming anymore. So it's a way of finding your balance to make sure that you're concentrating on what you need to do to accomplish what you want. Remember, you want to accomplish whatever it is you're trying to do. Nobody's forcing you to do it. You want to. So if you truly want to, this is the key. If you fail, you could have failed because you didn't put enough in and somebody outworked you. Next time, don't get outworked. But it's still up to you to outwork them, you to win, you to fail, you to lose, you to succeed. It's all on you. So hopefully this video will help hopefully a bunch of you guys, and I want to publicly thank Gold's Gym for everything they did. They really did put a lot of time. Don't get me wrong, corporations are hard to work with, and I'm not a corporate guy under any circumstances, but I got to give credit where credit is due. They did work with us a lot back in the day. They did a lot to help us, and it had a lot to do with the people that were around me, like Jim Elliott and Diane, and there were so many people, and Paul White, and it was just so many people around us that really were looking to try to help us succeed. And it wasn't a money thing. These people tried to teach me what I'm trying to teach you guys right now to help me be successful. And partially, I owe my success to some of the things that they taught me. So thank you to all those people out there that worked with me at Gold's Gym that taught me the things I needed to do. And especially Jem, because Jem, if you see this, man, thank you so much for having faith in me. When you came to me and said, I want you to go from being a trainer to running Gold's Gym, I was like, I don't know if I could do it. And you said, you grabbed me by the shirt and you're like, by the shoulder, and you're like, listen, man, you can do this. Like, I know you can do this, right? Let's go. Like, I'll, just trust me, I'll be there every step of the way and we'll get it done together. But you're going to be okay. You're going to be good. Without your help and guidance, I never would have been in that spot, would never learn the things that I learned from everybody else too. So thank you for the help, Jem. Thank you, Gold's Gym. And hopefully you guys can take this information and as of today, implement it into your world and get ahead. BicePsTraining@gmail.com. Leave comments down below, but don't fight. BicePsTraining.com is a blog. It's a Get Ahead Bicep, and we are out.